I'm a feminist, but right now I just want Justin Trudeau to hold me.
I'm a feminist, but tonight, despite my feelings, I have worn a gold shiny top because if it's going to be the end of the world, I might as well party.
I'm a feminist, but I'm starting to worry that I won't get to be US president. I don't think they let girls do it.
I'm a feminist, but I'm going to Sydney tomorrow, so right before this recording, across the road, I went in for a bikini wax, and I must admit, wrote some of the speech I'm about to deliver later while that was happening. It distracts you from the pain, it's good. The only way to get a bikini wax is to be distracted on work you really care about or drunk.
I'm normally drunk.
I did it once. We had a Christmas drinks, and in the afternoon I went in for a bikini wax just right afterwards, and I was so drunk and it couldn't feel a thing, and I just thought there is a market for a cocktail and waxing bar, and this is my pitch for a name: Hair of the Dog. It's not relevant. It's not bad.
I once had laser treatment on my bikini line. It really hurts. Yeah. So I'm just going, yeah. And they say take paracetamol beforehand. So I smoked a joint. And that works too.
Really?
Yeah.
You smoked a joint and went and had laser.
And when I had laser hair
That's
removal.
the most guilty feminist thing I've ever heard.
I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
I'm a feminist, but I would never tire of punching Ann Coulter. Yeah, only a smattering of applause because that was quite violent and possibly unfair.
Is it because lots of people don't know who Ann Coulter is, though? Yeah.
Oh,
she is a right-wing pundit who said if only people who had 4 grandparents born in America could vote, the whole of America would vote for Trump.
Just to clarify, what she said was at least 4. She was very clear.
But that, as many people pointed out, precludes Trump, whose grandmother was Scottish, but also all of Trump's 18 children from his 27 different wives. He's got so many children, and only one of his 102 wives was born in America. So none of his children voted for him. But
none of his children did vote for him.
Do you think?
They know him better than anyone.
Did you see? Was that his son, the little boy behind him during his? Yeah. Didn't he look sad? Oh, and he kept trying to. Did you see him shuffling out the shop? He was just standing there like this, like. Oh my God, this is my father. And I just can't wait for the tell-all book when he turns 21. Oh. You can see him just going, not Trump. But he kind of looks like a Trump, and he kind of knows, and he's just sort of like, oh.
Did you also see Donald checking how Melania was voting?
That was brilliant. Where he was just
that made me like her.
Well, I can't imagine anyone related to him doesn't know what a massive cunt he is.
Yeah.
Because they have to live with the country more than we do.
I've got one more. I am a feminist, but I got trapped in my house today and I had to be saved by a man. He was 12.
Live from the Hospital Club in London, Spontaneity Shop presents an emergency episode of The Guilty Feminist in response to the American election. What the fuck happened? With Deborah Frances-White and her guest co-host Carrie Quinlan and our very special guests.
So welcome to the Guilty Feminist emergency episode. We had to turn loads of people away, so thank you for all coming and just like being here and being present in this space. And we are on Periscope so that this can be a wider happening because it's the 21st century. And
Not that you know.
What can you see of me? Can you see my face?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. It just looks like the camera's like just pointed at my ass, and I feel like, do you know what I mean? Like that's.
It's Trump's world now. That's what happens.
Do you think that's what's happening? Do you think now, when women speak, their ass will be behind?
You are being periscopically grabbed by the pussy. Yay!
That's not the last time you'll hear that expression this evening. Or you, Periscope. This is a podcast, so this will be all edited. Tom's going to do, he said, a rush job to edit it, to get it out to everybody tomorrow. We did that for our Brexit episode. Well, actually, the episode was on anger. We just couldn't stop talking about Brexit through that episode. It's not meant to be about Brexit, it just got Brexited away for good reason. And that episode has become kind of very popular, and people are listen to it a lot. And a lot of people on Twitter said, what are you going to say about the election, and do you have any thoughts? And at that point, we were just like, I just thought a podcast of me sobbing for an hour. Really just not what anyone needed. But then last night, it just felt like we just needed to galvanise and just, come together. So that's what we've decided to do. Carrie Quinlan and I
wish.
I just got a text from Carrie Lloyd, and I'm very name dyslexic.
And she's got dark curly hair.
I literally just got a text from her right this second. And I mix up names all the time. And I'm sorry if I just use ableist language by saying name dyslexic. Don't tweet, I already know. There'll already be a tweet, I know there will. Sorry. Why we call it the Guilty Feminist, we are progressing towards the innocent feminist, or what's the opposite of guilty feminist? I don't know. I feel like I would say...
Woman.
Sorry?
A woman.
A woman.
Easy conscience, free conscience.
The feminist of free conscience, which is a less catchy title. I did that podcast for years, no one listened to it once. So we've called this episode The Patriarchy Strikes Back, because that's what we think has happened. And we're very much seeing Donald Trump as a Darth Vader-like figure. In an unexpected way, there has been a strike back, and we can either lie down and take it, or we can stand up and rage against the machine. So that's what we've decided to do tonight. Please welcome to the stage the wonderful, the very funny, the we're happy she's here, Carrie Quinlan!
I arrived here this evening, and you all, as you arrived this evening, as you walked in, there was music playing, and I kid you not, as I walked through the door, the music was going, "It's that little souvenir of a terrible year." And well, even the music of the gig is taking the piss now. It's not okay. It's not okay. Well, what have we learned? We've learned something very important, which is the American dream is alive and well in the last couple of days, because we've learned that anyone can become president, regardless of ability, integrity, intelligence, decency, criminality, and general all-round cuntiness. So we've learned that terribly, terribly important lesson. But the thing I was most excited about, like I was excited about the whole thing. Because yay, misogynist, racist, homophobe, exciting. but actually, I think that's why some people voted for him. I'm sure, in the same way that some people voted for Brexit because, let's see what happens. I do think there's a bit of that. And I hate those people the most. Because they knew. But I was excited to hear the Obama and Clinton speeches after Trump got elected, because obviously all my hope is in them. And we're all broken-hearted. It's a fucking shitstorm. I think we can all agree. There aren't going to be any jokes in this, I should point out. And all our hope rests in them. And so I was waiting for their speeches, and their speeches were brilliant, but they were not what I hoped for or expected. What I hoped for and expected from Obama was a sort of, don't worry guys, I've chained myself to the desk. much as in the past African Americans have been chained to their workplaces. Because, progress is cool. Too soon? Too soon. I've super glued the doors of the Oval Office shut, and I'll just stay here, and I'll just keep doing it. And it's going to be fine. Everyone relax. That's what I was hoping for. And from Hillary, I was hoping for, fuck you! Fuck you in the eye. Fuck you! Fuck off. Fuck you! No! Fuck you! Fuck you! Seriously, just fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I'm a bit worried that's
my home.
Person who came in with chips.
Not you.
Not you. Not you.
Not you. Did anyone order chips?
Just you started it as soon as she walked in the door. Like, there's a lovely man there.
I'm hungry. You've got chips.
Who ordered chips?
Who ordered chips?
Nobody.
Okay, she's gone now. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck off. Is what I was hoping for. But they gave absolutely wonderful speeches, noble and brilliant speeches. Hillary included that amazing line that I can't quote verbatim about, to all women, particularly little girls, don't be fooled, you still can do anything you want to do. Please, please have ambition, which I like to think was her version of fuck you! Fuck off, fuck you. And they both said that, we need to support President Trump, and I know, it's like being sick. Isn't it? And we need to, all rally around, bring the country together, and, see. But I realised that who they are the nice girls at school when I was picked for their hockey team. Someone knows. Someone knows. The ones who went, no, it's fine. She is. She's dreadful. But it's okay, because we'll rally round and we'll help her, and it'll be all right. And if the worst comes to the worst, we'll let her run around a bit and make her feel useful, but never ever give her the ball. Not once. And I was sort of chastened, because I realised that I'm the mean girls in the hockey team. Who are just like, I'm not playing with them. They're shit. Not playing. No, I don't care. I don't care if she's in the team. I don't care if I have to. I'm not doing it. And I suddenly realised that that's what Trump would be. I know. And so I have vowed, basically, over the next 4 years, not to be Donald Trump. Oh, I know! Vaulting ambition! Applaud that like it's the most noble thing you've ever heard. Yes! Let's all not be Donald Trump, guys. Let's see if we can hit that peak. I want to learn from that, but I also learned a very important lesson today. I've spent, as many people have, the last 36 hours in despair, sitting in my flat going, and it's not helpful, it turns out. And it's as if my subconscious realised this wasn't going to be helpful. It locked me in the entrance hallway to my flat for 4 hours. So my missus, she says it's my fault, I'm not sure, took both sets of keys to the flat into work this morning. And then when I was leaving the flat, I shut the door to the flat, looked at the main front door of the house, and it was deadbolted. Yeah. So I spent the best part of 4 hours sitting in a small, very cold hallway, thinking about my life and what it had brought me to. And I'm going to try and be quick because I know I'm banging on. But I've learned some lessons, and given that it was 4 hours, I think I've learned some important lessons for the next 4 years. Now, our or year one, we're going to be in denial. Okay, this isn't happening. Something's going to happen now that is going to stop this thing happening. So the upstairs neighbours are going to come home for lunch for the first time in their lives, or someone's going to actually get jailed for racketeering and sexual assault. That's what we're going to be like for the first year, and then it's all going to be okay, right? Now, second year is the really grim one. Second year is the bleak year, because that's when you realise it's really happening. Okay, that's the second year, second hour. You think, right, no one's coming home, no one's locking him up. We're stuck with this. It's horrible and it feels hopeless. And the racist, sexist, homophobe is signing things into law now. But it's okay, because then you just have to stick through that, and then there's year 3 or hour 3, and then you start to think about what you can do. You start thinking about what skills do I have, or what skills can I learn in order to make this. Can I learn to pick a lock? Can I learn to use a sniper rifle? Will go through your head. The answer is no, but you then start being a bit more sensible and thinking, actually, what can I do? What can I do to help? How can I volunteer at food banks? All that kind of stuff. Just spread love is the conclusion. Then you've got year or hour 4, and hope suddenly returns because the cavalry have arrived. It might be your neighbour's 12-year-old son, or it might be Michelle Obama. But basically, you work out year 4, hour 4, it's going to be okay. And the key thing, and this is what I'm going to finish on, and it isn't a joke, but I don't care, is to make year 3 year 1. To work out what we can do now, how we can actually be useful and bring love and change the world in a positive way, because people who voted aren't people who think like us, and we need to work that out. And we need to do that in year 1 or hour 1, not year 3. And I got out of my flat and everything's going to be okay. Thank you very much.
Tonight, Carrie did stand up, and I'm doing a challenge because we want to get on with the guests. We're not both doing both. And I decided that my challenge, because I feared exactly what Carrie was just talking about, that I was going to spend so long in denial and in discouragement, that my challenge was to find meaning immediately and action immediately. So I have written something in the spirit of this, to process my feelings and find meaning. Let's deliver it before I get going. Okay, so this is
I can make her go away.
No. Everyone's included. All right, so this is not stand up. This is how I feel. Bear in mind, I did write some of it across the road in the summer. I am devastated by the result of the US election and what it will mean for women, and people of colour, and people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, and people who are disabled. I am frightened, not just what it will mean for America, but what it will mean for the mood of the world and the direction and speed our globe is hurtling towards selfishness, greed, fear and self-destruction. Last night I could not stop crying because I felt there was no point in trying anymore. But today I realised that one of the factors in Hillary Clinton's defeat was that women are simply not included enough in any level of society. People could imagine a white man in a grey suit in the Oval Office because that is what a person of power and influence looks like. We, all of us, are not used to seeing women in influential roles. Women are still an aberration on an average television or even conference panel. We are told nightly, shown nightly, that one woman on a comedy or political panel sufficiently includes our gender. We do not see our reflection very often. We do not imagine ourselves being seen or heard. We see that a woman in the public eye is an exception, and therefore we quietly infer that only exceptional women should be given a voice. We fear we are unexceptional, so we exclude ourselves before we can be excluded. Donald Trump is rich, white, and male, and as such was born included. He has only ever known inclusion in every room he's ever been in. He's the judge at the beauty panel. He's the one who says who's fired. He decides who is included and who is excluded. And that was the platform on which he ran that clearly comforted too many people. He has become so entitled to inclusion, he has man-spread his way into the White House without preparation or humility. Women, we need to get better at including ourselves. We need to get comfortable with being seen and being heard. So comfortable we start to enjoy it. Women, if you are in a meeting for 1 hour with 6 people, you need to speak for 10 minutes over that period. I do not care what you are saying. Practice being heard. If you are interrupted, keep talking or interrupt the interrupter. Women speaking when men are present needs to be normal. They need to think it's normal, and so do we. Women, if you are asked to do a presentation or appear on a panel or speak on a conference, say yes. If you are not asked, and you even suspect you have the expertise, include yourself. Tell them why you need to appear. Do this even if it scares you. Be visible. Assume inclusion. Expect inclusion. Like money, inclusion is rarely given until it is applied for. If you've been routinely excluded, this may cause you some anxiety. Do it anyway. Do it for women who can't. Do it until it is normal for them and normal for you. Until we include ourselves, we can't include others. You can't get someone into a party you're not invited to. And women, we need to include others. White, straight, cisgendered women, I'm talking to us. We drive white, straight, cisgendered bodies. We are included more frequently than other sorts of women. We can deny it and focus on our own exclusion, but then we are on Team Trump. White people are especially included. We don't notice our extra right to inclusion because it's all we've known. Many white women in America voted for their white tribe over their female tribe this election. They chose exclusion for others even over inclusion for themselves. They chose to exclude people of colour even if it meant voting for a president who saw them as a number on a scale of 1 to supermodel, even though he saw them as a pussy to be grabbed and a pair of lips to be kissed against their will. They made the choice to dehumanise others out of fear, snobbery, and misplaced self-interest, rather than fully include themselves in a society led by a president who would respect, say, their right to autonomy over their own reproductive system. White women who find that a disgrace, it is not enough for us to tut. We must include women of colour. We must find room wherever we have influence to listen to their voices and provide platforms for their fears and complaints, even when sometimes those fears and complaints include us. We must make women of colour on the agenda normal. It is not enough to embrace Michelle Obama. She's an exceptional woman with an exceptional platform. We must provide voice and visibility for the women around us to find their exceptional voices until that act itself becomes ordinary. We must over-include and repeatedly include women of colour, queer women and disabled women until they feel included, until they self-include. Telling those women that there is a seat at your table is not always enough. We need to make them feel like they belong and prove that we mean it. Men, you have a big opportunity to exclude us now. The world just got more toxically masculine. I would ask you if that feels like the right thing to do, or just easy and normal and safe to create your panels, boardrooms and lineups without us. You can play along with Trump's agenda and leave us outside the rooms where decisions are made, or you can put one huge middle finger up to Donald Trump and include us in whatever you're doing. And we promise to show up and be seen and be heard until it feels normal. Equality Party, Hannah Pika. A wonderful woman I met recently who's an architect, a woman in STEM, an activist, a North American, Graysen Lane. A fabulous American comedian, Sara Barron. And a wonderful friend of mine, voice and comedian, Avery Edison.
Women!
So, let's talk about this. You're the Chief of Staff for the Women's Equality Party, Hannah. Tell us about that and what the mood was in the office and what you feel's gone wrong.
Was it good? Or was it
It was great. What we've worked out is we've got a winning business model at the Women's Equality Party. No, it was devastating. It was truly devastating. It was shocking in many ways, and in some of the ways that we had predicted it would be, and in some of the ways we hadn't expected it to be. But I'm not going to go straight to the hope already, but I will say that I found myself in the same situation, locked between those two doors, not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
But there was a bamboo in the corridor, and I took part of the window apart and got a hair clip, and I managed to get my bag, dragged it from underneath to the door, got the keys out like James Bond, and then realised that obviously the keys wouldn't fit through that gap that the bamboo did.
But that's still hero business. That's amazing. That's very much what the Hillary story is.
Right.
So close.
Exactly. That's right when you tell your story.
Trapped by an exit and trapped by an entrance is such a metaphor.
And so obviously that's the answer, and it.
But it was the third hour as well, same thing, and I felt better in this result than I did with Brexit, because we've created a Women's Equality Party, and I felt like, I've got something to turn up to today, and to do this work and to begin starting to pull this whole thing apart, and so I felt reassured and comforted by that. But the story of the night, there's various exit polls, so the stats aren't exact. But around between 55 and 65% of white women voted for a man who has displayed unabashed misogyny, who had at the time that they were voting a child rape claim against him and a court date for that, double-digit sexual assault allegations, and what do you do with that? I think for me that means that those women simply chose to defend the very small privilege that they did have, their racial privilege, as you spoke about, over fighting for what they didn't have, their equality as a woman. And I think that rationale can only take place in the context of this kind of weird post-Brexit, weird politics that's going on. The politics of attrition, politics that says equality is a zero-sum game. If I give a bit of equality to this group, then I can't give it to that group. And when we did the London mayoral elections at the party, the route master accidentally became like the image of our bus way before Sadiq co-opted it, and for a different reason, because that space, that weird space, and no one's really sure why it's got a hole in the middle of it, and awkwardly buggies try and get round it, and then feel really guilty if a wheelchair user gets on. And that became the image of our campaign, because it was why have we decided that much space will be given to various groups of people who need to use it? And it just says to everyone, well, if one person needs to use that space, someone else can't. And I think that's where we're at. I think that's absolutely where we're at. And people felt, that if it's given to that group, if we actually help and support that group to progress, then I'll lose out. And that was such a, that's years of neoliberalism, blah, blah, blah. But so disappointing. Absolutely devastating.
Graysen, just talk. I want to ask you anything. Say what you want to say.
First of all, I want to apologize for my continence.
You're Canadian. You're Justin Trudeau speaks for you.
I am Canadian, but I have family that live in the United States. I unfortunately, at 11 p.m. our time, knew it wasn't going to be close because my aunt lives in Florida and told me that Florida was going to Trump. So my despair started at 11 p.m. And if I cry, it's because I'm raging mad. I lived in Texas for 4 years. It was the worst 4 years of my life. I've never, at the age of 35, had ever been called the N-word. In my first week there, I was called it 26 times and spat on. I feel that I was a second-class citizen then, but as of yesterday, I became a third-class citizen. I have lost friends, Canadian friends, who believe racism does not exist. I have upset my friends that live here in the UK because I told them to stop telling me to have faith. I'm 38 years old. And I'm not proud to be Black because somebody has just told me that I do not exist. And the sad part is that this is not an American thing. You have people in France, you have people in Austria, you have Germans, you have Philippines that all believe that minorities do not exist. And this is something that's been going on since the slave days. You realize Black people, because they were free in Great Britain figured out that they could use Black people to take notes from the north to the south and be undetected. Why? Because Americans believed Black people were invisible. My mother is 72 years old. She is British. She grew up in Manchester. She fought for feminism. She fought for me. She fought for me to be educated. She fought for me to be respected. In 24 hours, in a male-dominated industry, I could sense the disdain for where I am in life. It's not fair. And it's not okay for you to tell people that it's going to be okay. Because if you do not stand beside minorities, it will never be okay. We cannot do it by ourselves. And I'm not saying that we can't make a change. It won't be in the United States. Right now, I have friends that truly believe because there was a Black president, there is no racism. There is so much racism in this world, and hate and sexism. To get emails of pictures of these huge Black ladies with their butts hanging out on motorbikes and them saying, "Ooh, look what Graysen did last weekend." This isn't something that's going to change by myself or with other Black people or other minorities until people stand up and say, it's not okay that every terrorist looks like a Muslim on TV. It's not okay that every Black person on TV is part of a gang. It's not okay to say that Mexicans are racist. It's not okay. People laugh about it, put up memes, make jokes of it. People are making jokes about Trump. You want to know why he got in? Is because of those memes, because we glorify the bad parts of politics. Does anyone know what he stands for? Nobody. But we all know that he likes to grab women's pussies. We all know that he's been married 3 times, cheated, and it's okay. We all know that he borrowed money from his dad, but he's a self-made billionaire. We all knew that he was colluding with Russia, which came out today, but denied it. He had a server that was sending things to Russia. Everyone ignored it and focused on a woman's set of emails that she'd been cleared for 7 times. Where were the women that were going to stand up for her? Nowhere to be seen. I ask you, I beg you, to stop saying I support you quietly, but be louder. Because telling me that you believe in minorities and you're standing there, telling me that you care for me and you're my friend, is great to hear, but it doesn't change anything. And I'm shaking because I'm not nervous. I'm so angry. In 10 minutes, I went through my 7 stages of grief. Oh no, I skipped acceptance because I refused to. I've been raging ever since. I've been crying and raging. Because everything my grandparents fought for, everything that people have died for, Martin Luther King, you name it, is gone. In one night, in one vote that I had no say on that is going to affect the rest of the world. And if there's one thing that you leave here with tonight, is when you see somebody getting picked on the street, or people telling bad jokes, or people stating that black people are lazy, or things like that. Young children hear this and inherently believe it. And for me as a child, I grew up in Canada, I grew up in a white neighborhood, I grew up all happy, I grew up sheltered. I never knew it until now, and now I see these young girls who don't think that they can be architects or doctors, because that's what men do. That's not the case. I am just as smart as a man. I'm just as brilliant. I can talk nicely. I can swear and say, fuck you. I can do pretty much anything a man can do, except for like lift super heavy weights. I'm a runner. I'm not meant to have a strong body. But I implore you, I ask you, I beg you, yes, you live in the UK, but it is coming. And if you don't want that to happen to your nation, you need to stand up. I am proud to be a Canadian because we have Justin Trudeau. Woo-hoo! I am proud because there was an election in one of our territories last week. They went Liberal. Canada is about the only nation that's going left. I am proud to be a citizen of this world because I don't own Canada. Canada is not mine. I just happen to be born in it. And if you don't realize how privileged you are to be born white, 10 seconds later you could have been born male in Syria during bombing, you need to realize who you are, why you were there, where you were from. It is not yours to own. It's yours to push forward and include everyone else in this world who does not look like you, who does not act like you, who does not necessarily believe in everything you do. You just need to accept it, and that's not a hard thing to do. And if anything, if you walk away today, and if anything, call your moms and say thank you. Because they're the ones that pushed forward to get you to where you are today. And I call my mom every day. I never tell her she's right. I just tell her thank you. But she knows in her head that I totally appreciate what she's done. But give your mom a call and say thanks, because if it wasn't for her, you would not be sitting in this room. You'd be sitting in a kitchen, cooking, and having children. And that's what I'm willing to say right now, because after this, I promise I'll give like what you can do and help and all that kind of stuff.
How you feel? I mean, you're actually American.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Which state are you from?
I'm born and raised in Chicago, but lived in New York for 16 years.
No,
so
I think of you as a New Yorker.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Either way, you're fine, though.
Yeah. I'm only totally humiliated rather than entirely humiliated.
Right.
I'm sorry to do this, but after that, I need a little guidance from you in terms of what you need me to talk about as the comedian on the panel, because I don't know where to go.
Avery's also a comedian.
Great. You want to just hop in with a little joke for the audience after Graysen?
Yeah. I guess I'm interested in. I mean, you know, there's no need for jokes right now. I mean, make one if you want.
Well, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Based on something that Graysen said, is that I really am so into the idea of not trying to talk about what's positive at the moment, or trying to be like, no, but just like taking on the atrocity that's happened and let that be horrible, and maybe now is not the time, and who knows when the time will be to try and approach things in a positive way. A thing that I heard said that was one of the only things that resonated for me, and I would be curious about your thoughts on it, was that I heard someone say, and this will be the butchered and not articulate version of the sentiment, so just bear with, but the idea that it is not a new beginning, it is the death rattle of some racist bigotry that is on its way the fuck out. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on that way of thinking about it.
I would lie if I agreed with that statement.
Right.
I'm sorry. Donald Trump exposed the underbelly of America.
Yeah.
So many people, when you tell them, oh, there's still segregated schools, oh, people, will yell out their car, there's fist fights. One of my friends, he's a professor in Texas, he's openly democratic. He tells his student, he teaches history, talks about history repeating itself, war, things like that. One of his students walked in on the day after, saluted like they did to Hitler and said, "Hail Trump." He kicked him out of his classroom. Another student immediately walked out, and they got into a fist fight in the hallway. This happened across campuses, across America. Many universities canceled classes for the day. It's not on its way out. Because people won't accept that there actually is racism. People blatantly look at me and say, there's people today in Manchester's like, well, we don't really have racism here. It's not the same.
Well, that's...
Were they not here for Brexit?
But I think that's such a thing, is that I live here and you've lived here for a couple of years.
No, off and on.
Off and on. I've lived here permanently for 4 years with a plan to continue to do so for obvious reasons.
Great healthcare. Great.
Yeah, well, it's
politically.
better. But a thing that I felt like when I moved, which was 4 years ago, and things feel a little bit different now, is that the thing I would hear was, oh, America is so focused on race, and we don't see that over here. I was like, and I didn't want to argue because, well, that's because you have higher self-esteem than some of us. I think that we are all racist everywhere, and that people don't. In America, I feel like at least 4 years ago, before the whole Brexit situation, it was not a thing that British people wanted to talk about in terms of their own awareness of race. And is there? I'm not even going to say anything positive, but I forgot where we were going with all of this. But the point being that you don't think it's a death rattle, and that the inability to sort of say, yes, this is just racism and there's no two ways around it is furthering the problem.
Do you know what my favorite saying right now is? I'm no longer going to be politically correct. I'm not racist,
oh, well,
but...
That's insane.
How many people have heard that? I'm not racist, but... Well, you're bloody fucking racist. And the thing is that I have for people that are racist, I'm like, own it. Don't pretend, own it. And I myself can tell you that when I was younger, I would see things on TV and see black people doing things, and I'd be like, oh, God. Like, no wonder people think things. And I am a culprit of doing that. As I've gotten older, I no longer do that, but if anything, I encourage them to become educated, because once you have a piece of paper, no one can take it away from you. And this is something so important to tell. And I want to say, it's not minorities, young females. It is so, so, so important to tell young females, doesn't matter if you want to be a mom, just get a piece of paper that says you can do something, that you can fall back on. It is a backup plan. You can be anything you want if you have it. But I mean, I too, I have to admit that I was racist against my own kind from being uneducated. And now I'm ashamed, pretty ashamed. Because I want minorities to be better and do better. Because that's what everyone focuses on. They focus on the negative parts of a minority. They don't see how many minorities have created, serums to fix this, or created technology that has made our life so much better. And we have some serious problems where, and I mean, I even have I have friends that do the same thing about their own races, Ukrainians, they do the same thing because we want better of our own kinds, right? And I've changed my attitude in since living in Texas, to be honest. And I'm sorry to harp on Texas, but what a backward state. I've changed my attitude to looking at, why are they the way that they are? And what can I do to help it? And that's the attitude I hope and I'm pushing towards other people, saying, how can I fix this? And I'll be honest, yesterday, I just wanted to blow up the world. I had no desire to help anyone. I had no desire to get out of bed. I essentially just wanted to curl up and die. Actually, no, that's not true. My first thought is, why can't I be white? Because if I was white, I wouldn't have to go through my struggles every day. Because every day I get up in the mirror and I look at myself in the mirror and I have to say, you're black, you're beautiful, you got this. And then I listen to the song, All I Do Is Win. Did you guys know that song? I believe every morning should start with dancing in your underwear. Yeah. Every morning that song goes off. And that's what I dance to in my underwear. Because it's a song that tells me that no matter what anyone says to me, I'm going to win. I'm going to prove to people that I'm better than what they expect from me. I have a guy's name. Seriously. You know how many men walk in and ask me to get them coffee? Because they do not realize that Graysen can be a unisex name. So, and I feel bad because you're American and I have American family and friends who I absolutely love, even Republicans that I love, and we agree to disagree. But I can't blame America for this, solely for this. This is a world problem.
Avery, I read today, I was reading a lot about sort of the LGBT response to this, and I retweeted something. Somebody was saying, if you want me to pay, if you're transgender and you want me to pay for your passport, I will pay for it right now, because if you can't afford to get a passport, you need to get it now, because in 2017, you will not be able to have your correct gender on the passport. What do you think the fallout's going to be in terms of LGBT in America right now?
If anyone doesn't know, the reason I'm being asked that question is because I'm transgender. I guess my answer is, I just want to say, at the beginning of the show, Carrie, I don't want to start a witch hunt, but unfortunately you did say ladies and gentlemen, and so I'm going to please ask you to go outside, find a car with an exhaust pipe and just put your mouth.
I'll do that. Can I apologise first?
I mean, it doesn't do anything. I still want you to kill yourself.
And I totally will.
We did not work out till show 12 or something that Sophie went, I think we've got to start saying please welcome to the stage. We worked out various things Uber people. So
Initially we just went, why are we just not saying please welcome to the stage?
I just always go with audience. Hello, audience.
And she nails it. Yeah, absolutely.
I do every time.
She does actually nail it every time.
I feel nailed.
I feel.
I'm not in the best way, but in an ultimately positive way.
I should have said that, but because you're a lesbian, I assume you know everything. And I feel like I don't want to straight-splain to a lesbian anything under a queer umbrella. I'm in the business of
I'm fairly new.
So
straight
lesbianism.
explain. Yeah.
Yeah, you said this the other
No
day. You
way.
said you were a late onset lesbian.
Yeah, late onset.
Late onset.
Nice.
Yeah. You haven't just become a lesbian for the show, though. that would be exploitative.
that would be cheating.
If anyone does want to be nailed, I have Tinder and Happen open on my phone. She's not up front. I'm in an open relationship. It's all good. She's in Canada. She won't mind.
Do you know her, Graysen?
I know everyone in Canada.
So I figured there's so many of you.
She's in the safest place right now.
Justin Bieber and I are best friends.
I've heard that is true.
Yeah, so I just want to say, I noticed that, ladies and gentlemen, at the start, and I just want to say, I imagine there's a likelihood of some non-binary people being in the audience, so I just want to say welcome to you too.
Me too, and I'm very sorry. And if anyone's got a car, I'll use yours.
It was the person bringing the chips in.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. This is Guilty Feminist. That's the point, right?
And holy shit!
I haven't gotten to my point still. I'm so sorry. I want to do everything to help everyone, but my particular area of expertise and specialization is in rejecting the gender I was assigned at birth. So I just want to say to any trans or non-binary or just queer people in general in the room, what happened yesterday, 8 trans youths committed suicide, and their parents shared it with a Facebook group for trans parents, and two are in the hospital. I don't want to minimize what America and Western society in general, because the reason we're upset despite being in England is because Western culture is based around and led by American culture, and what happens there reverberates here, and likewise, obviously, Brexit was an influence over there. If there are any, LGBT plus people here or on Periscope or wherever who are feeling like they want to do the thing that I myself have attempted numerous times. Normally I'm really bad at if someone tweets at me or emails me or something. From now on, even if it's just to respond to say I love you, just email or Avery Edison at Gmail, or tweet at Edison, because I don't want any more trans people to kill themselves, even though so annoying. That was meant to be a joke, but not that. Sorry, I'm just a couple things. Michelle Obama said multiple times she doesn't want to be president. We're already putting a lot on Graysen to be, at the moment, the black representative on stage. Let's not put even more on Michelle Obama. She doesn't want to do it. And also, I don't think the way to combat Trump and the mindset that led to him is to continue dynastic rule. Justin Trudeau he says nice things, but he's droning people and selling arms. And this shouldn't be the patriarchy strikes back. It should hold your applause until I stand up at the end and we'll do an ovation. We will do it, audience. This shouldn't be the patriarchy strikes back. It should be the kyriarchy strikes back. And if you don't know that word, it's basically like patriarchy, but acknowledging the intersection of various types of oppression: race, gender, class, ability. yeah, this isn't just sexism against Hillary. It is racism. Graysen, you said, I think it's important to accept that we are racist. I am racist. I was brought up in Western society. I'm a racist person. I have racist thoughts every day. Earlier on, I saw a Trump meme that was shared talking about illegal immigrants coming to America and taking everything. And it was a picture of a huge line of I believe, African people. I don't know, that's an assumption I'm making. And I felt revulsion, a visceral revulsion for a second, because that's what I've been raised to think, and I had to check that and tell myself these are human beings that are exactly equal to me. But yeah, I feel it. I feel it every day, and I am racist every day. And it's fucking awful, and the smallest possible struggle that I feel guilty even vocalizing, because feeling racist and knowing that you're racist is of course nothing compared to suffering from racism.
You can take your standing ovation now.
Yeah, I don't know. The last time I was here, last time I was on the podcast, I apologize, Tom, for bringing this up. I said something that was edited out, and it was about, it was a hyperbolic statement about cops not being human. And the reason I say that is because it encompasses a general feeling I have of utter disgust with capitalism, democracy, and Western society in general. Unfortunately, we do have to still live under capitalism for a little while. And as I say that, I do have nude photographs for sale, and they're how I averyedison.com/sex. At $10 each. We do have to live under capitalism for a while, but please live anti-capitalism, and please live abolitionism. Please give everything you can to people who need it. Right now, I would recommend the Southern Poverty Law Center, and Trans Lifeline is a good place to seek out people on Twitter talking about where to give your money to, if you have any. And I'll end it there because Deborah's looking at her watch.
No, I don't have a watch.
Can I change the topic?
Yeah.
Because she said something that made me click. And I just want you guys to remember that I was born black. I never chose it. I'm not saying I'm not happy that I'm not, because I have a very colorful life and it's awesome. We have a United Nations family. We include everyone. But when you choose a position of power, you choose that. And there's a huge difference to being born into something where you have no choice and taking a choice. I understand your argument about cops, but there are many people out there that choose positions of power because they want to make places safer and better for people, and then you're always going to have the assholes that come in and wreck it for everyone. So if you can go on in life being like, they didn't choose to be Asian, or they didn't choose to be feminine, but they are, and that's the way it is, and realize that when you choose a job or a career or choose to be racist or choose to be misogynist, that's a choice you physically have to make. Being born into a skin color is, you just got it. Like, that's just the way it is. And I think that's something that everybody has to keep in mind, that we make conscious choices every day to how we are going to behave in this society, how we're going to reach out to people. And I really hope, because you've been such an inspiration for me. I've moved so much further on in life since I've met Deborah. I love what I do. I love what I do, but I am in the process of a career change at 38 to change the minds of citizens of this world. And the reason why I took the leap was after we had our in-depth conversation. And when I told my mom turned to me and said, "I'm so proud of you."
You're changing from what to what?
I'm actually going into media.
before our interval, I just want everyone on the panel to say one thing, one sort of economical thing, either how you're going to make meaning of this or what you would like other people to do. So it doesn't have to be positive schmositive, but it has to be an action or a what for you, even if it's just something that's woken you up or what you would like to see a next step real world thing be. I'm going to start with Avery. We're going to go back the other way.
Okay, I will try and make this quick. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bernie Sanders, multiple figures in the neoliberal establishment have talked about working with Trump and working with the Republicans. Don't do that. When you work with fascism, you support fascism.
Sarah.
Okay. I feel like one of the things that makes me uncomfortable is any sense of an echo chamber. So people who all share the same opinion, talking to themselves and congratulating themselves for being so amazing.
Yeah. I really hate that too.
Echo chamber.
I think this room is actually called the echo chamber.
Oh my god.
I can hear you saying that from the back.
Touch our vaginas and spooge all over each other.
That said, everyone on stage will be watching the Periscope recording back and furiously masturbating at the image of the
I'm masturbating right now because I'm on stage and that's how I do. But so what I'm interested in actually, I had hoped you moved closer, but fine. Is I know one person on Facebook who, interestingly, if anyone gives a shit, which of course you don't, but fine, it's the guy that I lost my virginity to, who's now a born again Christian. Thank you so much.
How soon afterwards?
A while afterward, and when we like had a reunion, separate story, but he had gotten married and he's like, fucking again. And he was like, so I met this, we're like catching up on like 12 years of whatever, and he's like, yeah, and I met this woman, I had a baby with another one, but I married this woman, and problem with the other one was like she wouldn't change her name, and I was like, this is really interesting, like the plot is thickening with this guy. Anyway, only Facebook friend who I know who's like all about Trump. And last night, he wrote some crazy friggin' thing about like, I personally believe our country was saved today. And it was actually the most interesting thing in my feed of, I'm so afraid, what are we telling our I was like, I want to talk to this guy. And I said, I was like, hey, in the spirit of whatever, which I don't quite believe in, but fine. What exactly do you think, like, what are you hoping to be saved from? Like, I'd love to have a dialogue. And the women who are voting for Trump, and I think it was something like 39% of, no, expert over here, 42% of Hispanic Americans, like,
No, I thought you were going to say women.
I thought it was 39.
I was 30.
The point is a lot of Hispanics voted for him, okay? And I really, not in a rhetorical way, but genuinely, I want to begin to understand what they are thinking. Because, I so agree with what you said about, like, if you cooperate with fascism, you enable it, but I also feel like...
very smart.
I know, except for the fact that you moved away from me when I said I was masturbating, which hurt my feelings. But
Swipe right.
Swiping right.
I'm on board. Yeah.
I've been so articulate and very fast, like you asked for, Deborah. But the point is I want to understand. That's what I want to try and do, because I fucking don't, and I need to try.
Graysen Lane.
Stop telling me to have fucking faith. Honestly, at 38 years old, we're going backwards. What am I supposed to have faith in? I need people to tell me it's not okay. It's not going to be okay, because the reality is I am going to lose my rights. And I just want to put it out there that if minorities lose their rights, and when they come for women's rights, minorities will not be able to stand up for you, and obviously men don't want to. So if you're unwilling to stand up for me now, good on ya. No, I'm kidding. I'm so scared for my women's rights right now. I was one of the last people to get them. Therefore, I want to protect them more than anything. But I really, really need people to stop telling me it's going to be okay, because it's not okay.
That's actually a really good mantra. Stop saying it's going to be okay and start saying it's not okay. And therefore, if it's not okay, what are we going to do? Hannah.
Sorry, can I just, if you do want to find faith though, I do know someone who is such a good fuck that you'll find God afterwards. I mean, if that's how you
have
think
heard
that.
if you sleep with Sara Barron, you will have a come to Jesus moment.
Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah, will you have sex with Sarah?
Is this the normal kind of panel you get asked to do?
All the time. This is one political panel after the next, just like this. I think so. I'm guessing, unless you stumble into the wrong room, that everyone in this room is considers themselves a feminist, guilty or not. and I'm guessing that within that, though maybe smaller than we might imagine, there is an active group of feminists, and your active might be talking to someone about your feminism, or doing something about it, or going to a rally, or shouting at men, or whatever that looks like for you. But I think with the results that we have seen, this is a real wake-up moment for white feminism particularly, and to say the thing I think everyone should be doing is spending as much time being anti-racist as they are being feminist, and that be an action that you commit to doing the same amount. And also join the Women's Equality Party.
How can we do that? Like, you just go to the website. Do you need donations? Like, just a little plug for what's
We've got our conference at the end of Manchester, 25th to 27th.
At the end of Manchester.
Sorry, the end of Manchester.
Yeah, the end of Manchester.
At the end
of the 28th of Manchester.
No, at the end of November in Manchester.
It's actually a leap year, so it's 29th.
29th of Manchester.
So, but this is, I mean, in all seriousness, you know, the first feminist political party conference that the UK has had. I'm not hearing it about we already have feminist parties. We do not. And we're going to be having these discussions, and we're going to be trying to turn this into a political space where we create change. And then we're going to be electing a bunch of people to go and do that. So come to that and shout and cry and do all the things we've just done and have your voice heard. And we're not doing it the way that everyone else does it. We're doing like mad, weird stuff, like not like the other political party conferences, like banners and, you know, auto cues. We've got like an open mic night. Anyone's allowed to stand up and speak for 3 minutes about anything they're angry, upset.
I am there.
3 minutes, Deborah. 3 minutes.
I will write something on having my eyebrows done and stage. Yes.
So I have a blog that's starting at the beginning of December called graystories.com. It will show you what I'm doing in my life, what I've experienced, but it will be talking to people of minority races and telling their stories. It will be educating people about government and how it works and things that are going on around the world geopolitically. It's going to be, some stuff will be really heavy, and I might even tell some horror dating stories in the process, because there are some doozies. But I want to plug this because some of the women and men that I've talked to in the last 18 months since the election has blown up, the stories are really interesting. And I also want to say I am not a writer. I write how I talk. So it's not going to have large words. I feel when I'm in Britain, when people talk, I'm like, wow, you sound so sophisticated. Such a lazy North American.
They don't think the same thing when we talk.
Was it the bee shouting fuck a lot?
Shouting fuck you at some poor woman who was just trying to put chips down.
I'm not on board with carbs.
And then you called her both a lady and a gentleman for no reason, and an officer.
I'm the problem.
Doesn't like them either. Okay, we wanted to end on the first half on somebody incredibly funny and savvy, and someone who's got another gig, so could only pop in for a little while. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said it! I'll lie under it.
It's what this podcast is all about. We're trying and we're fucking up a lot.
Fucking up, owning it, and trying again.
It's not where you have to say the thing you just heard.
It's also, you shouldn't say things like dyslexic if you're not. It's learning and growing. Yes.
We should also not mock suicidal ideation and behaviours.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yes.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. So in exchange, can we maybe take some of these candles and burn?
No. Okay, please welcome to the stage, Tiffany Stevenson. Woo!
Hi guys, I just got some jokes and I'm drunk. I've had like 3 glasses of Prosecco, but the baby's loving it. Relax, I'm not keeping it. And that's how I open shows in Ireland. I'll keep doing it till they make it legal. Irish women coming over here taking our abortions. I do that bit purely because as of next year I feel like I might have to do it in the United States, which is terrifying truth when I can't say president, I feel like the Fonz when he tries to apologise, he can't say the word sorry. I find it really hard to say the words President Trump, but that is the man that thinks Roe versus Wade was a fucking tennis match. And that's where we are, you know. Trump, who believes women should be punished for having an abortion. I think his mum should have been punished for not having one. How about that? Fuck! Where do I begin? I'm on my period, and yesterday it was apocalyptic. I felt like I was bleeding for the world. I got up and I was like, I just want to go back to bed. The world hates women, and it is bigger than that, as we've sort of discussed. I find it incredible that, you know, Trump built a campaign on being anti-immigration when his mother was a Scottish immigrant and 2 of his 3 wives have been immigrants. So I assume he's anti-immigration up to the point that he has been inside someone. That's a good joke. I'll judge you if you don't like it. Doesn't matter whether it's Little Donald, which I imagine is what he calls his penis, or Bad Hombre. Or an entire fetus, but that's where he draws the line of immigration. And I don't want to judge the women who marry Donald, I don't, because you don't know what they're running from. Seriously, what horrors are they trying to escape? If they can look at him and think that's a better option for me, that's a better life, I can ride that blancmange carcass. Well, it's simple. I just go up, down, up, down, up, down for like 10 minutes, then I'm sick of it. It's like a roller coaster. His current wife, Melanoma, that's a joke, guys, obviously. It's a joke. He keeps her locked in a basement. She never sees sunlight. I genuinely believe she has Stockholm Syndrome. Because whenever you see her come out, it's almost like she's not human, but I think she's trying to blink with her eyes and whisper. She's trying to signal, like when she came out of the Republican National Convention and went, whatever Michelle Obama said! I love Donald, he's such a generous man, sometimes leaves hatch open in basement to let fresh air in. She wears too much white. All I'm saying is, I think she's getting their clan wardrobe together already. Guys, they're jokes. They're jokes. I know we're saying we can't joke about it anymore, but fuck him, right? And I will make it about his looks. I'm not scared to, when they say it's cheap to take a pot shot at someone's looks, that's all Donald Trump has ever done about women. Like when he said he thought Heidi Klum was less than a 10, as if she gives a fuck what Donald Trump thinks. As if he's been anything more than a -10 with a Weetabix stapled to his head. It's unbelievable that a woman that qualified for a job, the most qualified woman in the world, can lose out to a man that has never held office, that is on the fucking Celebrity Apprentice. It makes me, I don't know when the anger's going to subside. I think you're right, I think we should keep the anger. I think we should hold on to it. When people would comment on Hillary's voice, and I was like, what is that? That's the voice of a woman with authority. That is what you do not like. And the debate, and women doing this to other women, like Grazia magazine, who ran a headline 2 months ago going, does Hillary need to up her fashion game? Oh. That was a genuine piece in that magazine. That's a magazine I buy, I quite enjoy, I don't mind fashion. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world. But I was so disappointed. It was like I mean, maybe she needs to up her email password game, admittedly. But her fashion game, if we're going to insist on doing this with female politicians, then I just ask that we do the same with guys, for fairness, right? If we're going to insist on making the story about women in politics, about their shoes, about whether they're married, whether they're going to have kids, I want to see pictures of David Cameron's post-referendum body. I want to see a sad headline underneath that says, is David ready for more kids? Because we're obsessed to the point that Nicola Sturgeon has to come out and say, I've had a miscarriage. That's how obsessed we are with what is going on inside wombs, you know? And as a woman, I was disappointed that both the women who were up for the prime ministerial position were what I would deem to be absolute womb botherers. You had Andre Leadsom, who said you cannot have any stake in the future of the UK unless you have kids. Because as we all know, empathy only comes with vaginal tearing. And on the other hand, Theresa May, who's consistently campaigned to lower abortion limits for women. And when Theresa got the job, the media were like, oh my God, why don't we know anything about Theresa? Why does she have such a low public profile? And I was like, well, she's a woman and over 50, therefore of fuck all interest to you guys. That's when your superpowers kick in as a woman. You become invisible. I cannot wait for that point in my life. There are women in here tonight, you don't even know they're in the room. Just walk straight in there. This room is actually twice as full as you think it is. I can't wait for that point in my life. I'm going to rob banks, I'll perv on people in the shower, I might even run a country. Who knows? I like that piece of material, right, because it's quite complex, because, you know, on the one hand, I'm disagreeing with Theresa's policies, and on the other, I'm defending her as a woman. And the reason for that is I don't have to agree with everything every woman's ever said. That's not what feminism is. Everyone knows what feminism is. It's hating men. On a serious note, I think the left is so fucking divided at the moment. We need to shore up. We need to get our shit together. We really, really do. And this is a sign. I read an article recently that said Donald Trump is a harbinger. So I would agree with you there, Graysen. I would say this is a sign of things to come. And we really need to galvanise and come together and stand up for each other and speak for each other and say, fuck, this is a terrifying time. Let's protect each other, you know, because the world isn't just about the white, straight male, you know, and that's the truth. I will try and finish on a joke. I don't understand why the debate is in politics consistently, but it was throughout the election, whether or not Donald Trump was going to press the nuclear button. And I really hope it's more than a button. Because a button is something you can accidentally nudge with your coffee. And I hope at the very least it's a series of launch codes. Someone phones someone else on a submarine, you know, and then 3 people turn the key, and that's how it all works, you know? It shouldn't just be something that's in plain view, it has to be hidden. And if the nuclear button is hidden, they should put it in a place that a man will never look. Box set of Sex and the City DVDs. You thought I was going to say vagina. But it's a tough time to be a woman, you know. Is it, you know, are you wearing too many clothes? Are you wearing not enough clothes? Like the whole burkini debate, which the burkini, as I like to call it, factor 50. When this happened on the beaches in France, you know, France said it was about Islam, but I also know the French is a little bit about fashion. You can hear it in the tone. Take that off, it is oppressively unattractive on you. We are at the beach, get a little bit of tit out, please. Also black, this is very last season. And the upsetting thing about any of these sort of debates is the inevitability, and this is what upsets me about the women's voices that are being heard in the right place, right? Because the inevitability of a story like this is that it gets discussed on Loose Women. Oh. Yeah, exactly, which is a hard no, isn't it? Because whenever you go, there aren't enough women on panel shows, they go, well, you've got Loose Women. I'm like, that's not a panel show. Oh. That's a piece of daytime magazine television where I have to hear Gloria Hunniford say, if I was to play devil's advocate, I would say, what are they hiding under those burkinis? What weapons could they be concealing? I mean, unless she's seen them. Yeah, no, just no. How about that? Just no. Yeah, they're skin tight, you know. Also, Ursula Andress was in a bikini. She still had a knife. I hate to break it to you, Gloria, but women can hide anything upon their person at any time. That's kind of the way our bodies are designed. We have our own internal pocket, if you know what I mean. Where do you think I keep my credit card when I go swimming? And my car keys and my mobile phone. And a set of Russian dolls for irony. So just seeing how far I can stretch that. I think that'll probably do. That's probably enough, isn't it? I mean, I did stuff about the election. It's really inspiring hearing everyone speak, and like I say, you know, let's push things forward. To quote the streets.
Our first half guests, my co-host for the night, Carrie Quinlan. People from the Women's Equality Party. Graysen Lane. Or perhaps one of the best, the Lady Avery
Hello there, it's Tom Zelensky here, the editor of the podcast. If you're listening to this message, then the version of the podcast which you've just listened to had a short section edited out after the podcast was first released to remove some material which, on reflection, we felt didn't really live up to the ideals and aspirations which the Guilty Feminist podcast usually sets for itself. We wanted to include this short message at the end just to make sure nobody thought, if they did realise there were two different versions floating around, nobody would think that we were trying to, in any way, rewrite history. Thanks for listening.